Plains.
Okay. So, I want to talk about how you got your job at 40 Acres. How did that begin?
All right, well, I'm a storyteller, so
Okay, no, listen, talk.
All right, we're gonna set the scene. So like, I wanna say 2010, 2011, I got the call to work with DJ Bobby Trends over at Hot 97. And he needed a writer. I used to write a lot, and this is early Twitter. This is when Twitter was just buck wild. So I used to be on there all day talking about whatever. And I think my cousin worked with him. And I was talking about something. I think I was fact checking MTV. The MTV put up a tweet and they had an answer it was like a question and they had an answer. And I fact checked them and I hit them with the wild facts. So I think he liked that and told my cousin something. And my cousin was like, "Oh, you know, he writes." So I was like, okay. So he was like, okay. And he told him about my blog site I had at the time and how I write about sneakers and all that stuff. So I got a call, started working with them. I was, pretty much shadowing him. He would do clubs, he'll be in the radio station, and I was just around. And then I was working on his website. And I was working on content to put up on Hot 97's site. Long story short, Spike was getting ready to shoot Red Hook Summer. And Spike put up a tweet where he was being real cryptic and didn't really say what was going on, but you seen him in the Mookie get up. So I was hyped. So I was like, yo, they're gonna do the right thing too or something. So I wrote about the tweet and they knew I was a Spike fan. So he was just kind of like, all right, whenever Spike does anything, fuck it, you take it, you write, you go with it. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm writing about Spike, and the way they set up the articles and tweets, every time it got posted, if you had the person's name in the header, it would automatically at them on Twitter. And at this point, Spike had just started using Twitter and stuff. So every time I wrote about something, it would at Spike and it would be on the timeline. And I noticed, there was a point in time where I noticed Spike started retweeting it. I was like, all right, cool. I was geeked off it, but my name wasn't on the handle. It was like Bobby Trend's handle or whatever it would tweet from. And then after a while, I caught on to it, started feeling some type of way. So I started reposting my articles. He started retweeting them. So now I'm getting the retweets on my phone. I'm taking pictures of it. I'm hyped because Spike is my idol. So Red Hook Summer comes out, and this was August 2012. And I wrote an article about it, like a review. I went to go see it over here at BAM, and I went home, wrote something up, and I get a notification. Not only was it a retweet, but this time Spike reached out to me. And he was just basically like, yo, you seen my vision, thank you. Wow. So I was like, okay, he read it, because the thing is, also at the bottom of my articles, it had my handle. So I think that one I didn't put up on my own. It went through Bobby Trends, but he contacted me. So, fast forward, he announces around 2013 that he had a big announcement to make. He announced this on Twitter. So, I'm thinking all sorts of things, like, what could it be? Come to find out, I think around July, he confirmed that he was going to do a Kickstarter campaign for a new film. Yeah. Didn't say what the movie was, but me, I want to be a producer. You know what I'm saying? I know when you're a producer, I know funding is a big deal. Yeah. So I said to myself, yo, maybe let me sow this seed and let's see what will come from it. So I throw a party every summer, and I gave my initial donation, which was like maybe like $100. Mind you, I was dead broke at the time. So that $100 went a long way. But then I was throwing a party and I was like, you know what? Whatever profits I get from this party, let me donate it all to Spike. Wow. And that's how I promoted the party. It was like, yo, every entry, you're donating to the latest Spike Lee joint.
That's sick.
I put it out on Twitter. He got a little laugh. He was like, yo, that's what's up. Like, thank you. But, I didn't think much of it. I was just doing the most just to kind of stand out. Yeah. Did it. I forgot how much I made that day, but all of it went to the Kickstarter project. On my birthday, August 16th, they made their goal. But also, he had already planned a Kickstarter party to go down at Brooklyn Bowl. Okay. So that was on my birthday. I remember my mom was right here at Brooklyn Hospital. Chilled with her for most of my birthday. But then I went home, got fly, and I went down to Brooklyn Bowl. So I get to Brooklyn Bowl, and it's a calm scene. I'm seeing a lot of people walking around and stuff like that. Then I see this little man walking around with his hat, and a big chalice. It looked like a big wine,
Yeah.
I look real quick, it's Spike. So me, I'm from, New Yorkers, we don't get too hyped off of celebrities and stuff like that. We're just
We're
like,
trying not
whatever.
to make it like,
Yeah,
so we're trying to oh,
I'm
okay.
just like, whatever. So I see him like, oh shoot, mind you, like 2 years earlier, I met Spike for the first time at a meet and greet for the Miracle at St. Anna DVD launch.
Okay.
So I saw him, I had my little moment, it was like in Malcolm X, when you see Elijah Muhammad, that glow, I had that moment with him already. So at this point, it was like, okay, that's Spike, all right, cool. So I'm chilling. So I go up to him, I see him by himself, and I seen people talking to him, but he was kind of like, yeah. So someone's like, John, just go up to him. I go up, and I'm like, hey, what's up, Spike? So I was like, what's up? I'm like, I'm Mr. Marin 88. That was my name on Twitter at the time. He's like, what? Word? So he's like, yo, that's what's up. Yo, my brother I'm so glad to meet you. I was like, what? So my boy was with me. He was like, yo, what the hell is going on? Like, how is Spike so playing it cool. Again, I'm like, oh, all right, yeah, that's what's up. All right, man, yeah. So I started chopping up with him. I asked him about the movie, and he was like, shh, it's coming out in the fall. Don't tell nobody. I was like, all right, yeah, no, we good. So I went minding my business. And at one point, I'm sitting by myself. He goes, Marin, come over here. So he pulls me, and he goes and takes a picture with me. But it was like he wanted to take a picture with me, which I thought was crazy. It was definitely the other way around, low key. But I just didn't want to say nothing. So I'm like, okay, this is dope. So now as the night is going on, Clark Kent is spinning. I'm dancing. Spike just keeps coming around me, like trying to engage with me, like, yo, dance. I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on? It's my birthday, mind you. This is like the greatest birthday gift ever. I'm like, yo, had no idea. I think I turned 25 that day, 24, 25. And I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. So what I donated for was to do a boot camp with him. It was like a filmmaker boot camp where basically it's him and the guy, people that he worked with come and it's like they sit you around, like they sit around with other budding filmmakers or whoever donates and to tell them the ins and outs of the business. And the whole thing was that you can get a chance to work on this film. So I did it. I forgot how much money it was. It was a lot of bread though, because I had no money. I couldn't even eat or get to work. So I did it, and I get to 40 acres, and I see everybody. So now Spike pulls up, and everybody's like, oh, I'm just chilling. I'm chilling, but he sees me, and he doesn't really react. And I was just like, what the? He don't remember me? I was like, whatever. So we get inside, and he's like talking to everybody, like, hey, how you guys doing? So now he says, yo, I'm gonna go around the table and introduce myself. Like, everybody introduce yourself to me, I'm gonna shake your hand. So he's doing it. As he gets to me, I'm like, Mr. Marin 88. He's just like, my man. He like tapped me. So everybody's looking at me like, what's going on? So as the whole thing is going through, like, he's talking about films and he's the ultimate film geek, and he's big on like films from way back.
Yes.
So some of them, I remember when I was growing up, my grandmother, before TMC was, The Walking Dead and all these shows, it used to be like an oldie movie channel. Like,
Yeah.
I used to Carmen Jones, Black, I don't know how many movies I watched on TMC with my grandmother. So he's naming these movies. So I think he saw me kind of like nod when he mentioned a movie. So he's like, Marin, you know that movie? So again, people are looking at me like, who is this Marin guy? So we go to lunch, and people are coming to me like, yo, you went to NYU? I'm like, no. You went to Morehouse? I'm like, no. So he's like, how does he know you? I was just like, I don't know. We just met. You know what I mean? But it's like, I'm not really thinking much of it. And we do the whole seminar, and at the end of the day, everybody was being dismissed. We got little goodie bags, like, I think it was like a Malcolm X book. It was like, old Spice joint stuff that they gave us in goodie bags. And he called me, he's like, come over here. And he's like, what do you do? So I'm like, I write, but I'm into, filmmaking. I write and I want to produce. And he's like, all right, give me your number and your email. I do that. So I don't hear from him for a while, and I didn't really think much of it, but it would always bug me, like, why did he take down my info? And one day I'm on my way to work, and I'm on the train, right before we went in the tunnels. Now, this is before they had service in every tunnel.
Okay.
Right before we went to the tunnel, I get this call, and I'm like trying to be quick with it, and the person is like, hey, I'm calling from 40 Acres. Spike told me to call you because we want you to come in tomorrow because we're starting pre-production on the new project. And he's like, can you do it? Now, mind you, I had a schedule for 2 weeks set already
Oh, okay.
for work.
Yeah.
I said, yes, I can do it. Went into work, yo, take me off the schedule. I got this and that to do. People were hating.
So did you quit?
No, I didn't quit. I told him, but I already had a good relationship with my managers. I was like, take me off. But the store manager, this is when I was working at Converse, store manager was like, Spike don't pay nobody. You know, just hating stuff. So whatever, dude. Just take me off the schedule. Make sure y'all do that. And I went, and I'll never forget, it was a Sunday, and he had me sit by the door. That was my first task, sit by the door and let in actors, and because they were doing rehearsals. And I did that for maybe 2 days, and then it was like, yeah, well, we're shooting next week. So I did that. We shot that film. I think we shot here for a week, and then they went to Martha's Vineyard. And while we were shooting, I was sitting at, one of my tasks one day was to sit at the door and let in production, because our production base was at the office.
Okay.
And his assistant walks in and was basically like, yo, like, what's up? You know, like, just chopping it up with me. And again, the question came, what do you do? You know, but we had a really good conversation that he was just like, basically like, yo, send me a resume whenever you get a chance. I didn't know what would come of it. And when we was done shooting, I got a call to come back and intern. And that's basically where it started. Yeah, but it was literally from Twitter, all the interactions from Twitter and stuff like that. That was basically the build up as this.
So you'd say that social media for sure played a huge role.
Definitely. And this is what I tell a lot of people. I know social media, you know, conversations come up, topics, $200 dates. Do you do this? Do you do that? And it's all these, you know, viral conversations. And I tell people all the time, yo, try to monitor what you talk about on social media.
Brand yourself.
And if you exactly, if you're doing, like, I know a lot of people that make music, but they get caught up in these conversations. I'm like, bruh, you don't got time for that right now. Like, yeah, no, you don't have time for that right now. Right now, you should be pushing your art and just making connections, because even with the Hot 97 stuff, look how he saw me talking my stuff through social media.
Yeah.
And it was like, even when I was doing that, and I was also writing for a sneaker website, and I broke a story on some LeBrons. Like, I found something on a Japanese website, broke the story. Next thing you know, at the end of the day, I was getting calls from Daily News, from the New York Daily News. They wanted to know, yo, how do you, how did you find this scoop? And I'll never forget. I remember that day, this is when Twitter had the egg, you know, when you don't have a picture. I remember I got followed by about 60-something egg accounts. And the guy I was working for was like, yo, watch what you say on social media, because that means people are watching you.
Yes.
You know, it was a bunch of accounts that didn't have any tweets, didn't have any real name, but he said people are watching you. From that moment on, I always monitored what I did on social media. And if I can tell anybody anything, it's called social network for a reason. You have to network with people.
Yeah.
You can be social and talk about whatever, you know, but you have to network with people.
Let there be a purpose. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, definitely, I would say that was my end, was through the social media channel. You know what I'm saying?
So, did you go to school at all for production?
Nope. I went to school, liberal arts major, did not know what I wanted to do. I didn't really have anybody to guide me through the process. Like, I didn't know about communications. And you know, honestly, I never wanted to go to school for those reasons. I used to watch A Different World and all that stuff.
Yes.
I wanted to go to school for that. I was like, yo, I wanted to hang out. I wanted to be
Yeah.
Dwayne Wayne all my life. You know what I'm saying? So it was never like, oh, I want to get this degree and put it up on a frame it. You know, I never would. I don't know if I just had the foresight and I just didn't know any better. I always felt in my heart that wasn't necessary for some reason. It was weird. Like, it just, you know, like, I just never really, my drive wasn't there for that. Like, I wanted to go to school and do other stuff. Like, it was just never like, yo.
It wasn't for your passion.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't know. I was just a lost. I was just wandering, honestly. Like, but
Not really though.
But I always knew I wanted to be in film and write. That's one thing I always knew I wanted to do. I used to watch Siskel and Ebert when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? And I used to break down film, and I was really a film geek. And it started with Spike. You know, like, I'll never forget, we was watching Mo Better Blues on VHS, and, like, you know, Jungle Fever. I remember we watched Jungle Fever and I said I wanted to be an actor. Because of seeing how there was, you know, and I was young. I was like 4 years old, and I said that. I remember seeing Malcolm X, Denzel, like,
Yeah.
If you watch Denzel, he's gonna make you.
anybody
Yes,
want to do that.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it was like, yo, that's what I want to do, and but it's just how to get there. I didn't know. But my mom used to always buy me like empty notebooks to write and stuff like that. And I had a lot of action figures. So like my brother was younger, so like we had a big platform type of bed. So I used to put him to sit on the ground, and I used to play out movies and stuff like that. And like I used to, like I think I'll never forget my Independence Day Will Smith action figure. Like that was Will Smith in the movie, and like you know what I'm saying. So I did stuff like that. I knew that's what I wanted to do. It's just I didn't know how to get there.
Yeah.
That was the big problem, getting there. How do I get there?
Yeah.
And then the internet and social media wasn't big in '06 when I graduated high school. We had MySpace, but it was not for. I don't even know how you could get put on with MySpace. Maybe you would know.
MySpace, after I want to say like 2008, 2009, they came out with like a label, like a music label.
Because Justin Timberlake bought it or something like that
Yeah,
around that time,
he
right?
bought it. I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Didn't seem legit to me.
Yeah, yeah. So we had that. That was our social media, but it wasn't really any networking from there. On my end, like I didn't know how to finesse that. You know what I'm saying?
Now people, you got it easy now. It's like, okay, go online, keep adding this person, but
Yeah,
make sure
yeah,
you're good.
yeah, definitely.
So what is your official job title?
Well, there's one thing I say about 40 Acres is like it's a small group of us that work there, and he has an assistant, but in some ways we're all assistants. So
Okay.
Spike and I told him what I wanted to do, and we got cool. Like we just used to have casual convo. Yeah, I used to always come and wear my Jordans, so he's
Oh, yeah.
Spike, Michael Jordan.
Yep.
So we used to have these conversations, and then I also used to buy a lot of vintage Spike's joint pieces
Okay.
from like the '90s. So like we get in these conversations, and I'll never forget. I was at Converse, and I was doing a 6 a.m. shift, and he called me, and I went and go hide in the bathroom to talk to him. And at that point, I was interning. I was always at the desk, and he was like, "Yo, I know you can do more than just sit at a desk and answer phones and buzz people in. So I don't know we got to figure out what is it that you can do." And I think that was the first little tease that I was going to get hired. You know what I'm saying? I remember I went and talked to my mom about it. She was like, "Yeah, I think he has plans for you."
Sure. He wouldn't even have that conversation.
So one day, we had a meeting, and I don't know, I guess it just came over him that he wants to sell T-shirts again. So he was like, "Yo, do you want to run Spike's joint?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So right now I'm doing merchandising. I develop product. I man his website, see what he does daily and how he puts it in certain projects. I've seen how the news affect his projects. Like, something happens, he'll write a whole scene that weekend, and it's going to reflect what just happened.
Wow.
For example, Chirac. There's a scene in Chirac where John Cusack is talking to Tiana Paris and all the other girls, and they mention the Charleston 9 shooting. That happened literally a day or two before that they shot that. That happened, Spike wrote that, and they shot that, and it's in the film. And when the film released, all that stuff was still raw, it's still new. That's why when you see things like Do the Right Thing, everything makes sense now. It was like, yo, these stuff, it's so timeless because this is stuff that's happening, and he's documenting it as it happens.
That's what I love about him. He just talks about things that people wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable talking about because it's so touchy.
Yeah.
It's so.
Look at Do the Right Thing and Radio Raheem being choked out.
Yes.
Michael Stewart and all that stuff that had happened, but then fast forward to Eric Garner, it's still raw, it's timeless. Like you can't, Malcolm X, even though Malcolm in itself, his speeches were timeless. Like I was listening to something last week and I'm like, this is going on in the news right now.
Absolutely.
But even that, like, opening with the Rodney King beating while the American flag burned, and think about black folks now, how they feel about the American flag and the Confederate flag and all of that stuff. All that stuff is just, it's so fresh, and it will never die. Like this stuff, it's documented for a reason.
And that's what makes for great film.
Yeah.
When it's just real.
So
you don't have to act so much.
Yeah, so like just being around him puts so much into perspective. I'm like, damn, this man is really, it's just crazy to see that. And it fueled me as a creative myself. It was like, yo, like, you need to start documenting, like even in your writing, whatever you want to write about, you need to start documenting pieces. Look at James Baldwin.
Absolutely.
I was watching I'm Not Your Negro last night.
Saw that.
I was watching that last night, and it's like the things he's saying, and they're cutting it with scenes from Ferguson and stuff like that. Look at what he did. Like, so for me as a writer, whether it be a piece of journalism or any type of short story, whatever I write, I try to make it as honest and raw as possible, because who knows, 10, 15 years from now, somebody could go back and
It's life through your eyes. It's like a little, time capsule.
because that stuff is more revealing than the textbook. The textbook will tell you about what happened, but
Yeah.
you got to go back and find a piece from when it happened. Like what I often do, I go to Google Books and I read like old Jet. This is weird. I read old Jet and Vibe magazines
That's dope.
when
Okay.
things happen, because you get more context from when it happened as opposed to a nice revisionist version of what
Or
happened.
even a news report, because it's,
Yeah.
like that's how they,
Yeah.
informative.
Yeah,
It
so
wasn't really about feeling.
So like that's one thing I learned from him is like try to document things when it happened, because it'll live long forever, and it's just like it's a testament to him, his career and everything. It's just like
Absolutely.
that's one of the great seeing the magic being made is the best. It's the best seat in the house. My office right across from the editing room. So right now we're in post production for She's Gotta Have It for Netflix. So I'm seeing everything as it's going along, and it's just like yo, it's just wild. It's wild.
'Cause I bet anyone would give their.
If
arm.
if your Spike is your idol,
Yeah.
that's where you want to be. And it's like, yeah, I might not have a credit on this project, because I didn't get to work on it per se, but the fact that I'm
You
there,
got to see it.
yeah, it's just amazing.
Who else can really say that?
Exactly.
What would you say it takes to be successful in his career, in your career?
It's just, hard work. It's gonna sound cliche, but hard work. Yeah, you just gotta be on it. Just be on it. Don't slack. Don't. That's one thing about him. If you see the people he collaborate with, 20, 30 years in, they're not chilling. They're not like, oh yeah, I've been doing this for whatever. No, they're on it, and it's like, and he makes sure that they're on it.
He works. I've noticed in every film he reuses all of. I love that.
And that's because and that's in front and behind the camera.
Oh wow.
A lot of the people that are still ADs on certain projects, they've been around since Do the Right Thing. Some of them been around since She's Gotta Have It. Larry Cherry was Spike's barber,
Okay.
everyday barber. He cut his hair for every movie, and now Larry Cherry is Denzel's barber.
Wow.
Larry Cherry has if you go on his IMDb, every single movie Denzel's in, Larry Cherry has a credit, because he's his hair he's the hairdresser. So like, what I'm saying? So it's just having good rapport with him and just proving your worth. Like, what I'm saying? He's gonna keep working with you. If he keeps calling you for projects, that's the best thing that can happen. And then from there you network, and who knows, you can get something better. And there's a lot of filmmakers that started behind the scenes with him, and they're doing their own thing now. You know what I'm saying? So it's just if there's one thing I can say, just work hard and just keep at it. Don't get comfortable, because you can be replaced. It's Spike Lee. He can get anybody else to replace you. You know what I'm saying? People are dying to work with him. So just be on it. Be on your A game. That's
So
it.
I feel like you probably told me this already, but people are gonna want to know what was going through your mind when you thought, I'm working with a cultural icon. Like my whole world is different now. Like
It was just surreal. It was a lot of I gotta pinch myself moments, because it's like so and so is coming to the office to pick up something from Spike, and it'll be an actor that I've seen in all his movies. Like I've been watching you for years. It's crazy, and to know that now we have a relationship where he's like my boy now. Like, we went to a Yankee game.
Spike.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like I can hit him for anything. Well,
Yeah.
not any. Like, I don't want to waste his time neither. But it's like I can hit him and talk to him about certain things, or he's older, so where I help him a lot now is like social media and stuff like that.
Yes.
And it's like he picks my brain for certain things. So it's like to know that I have an integral part in the process now. His thinking, when he was doing Chirac, he was asking me about certain. I'm not from Chicago, but he was asking me about certain trends. What do they say out there? Who's cool right now? I tell him about Chief Keef and the whole drill culture and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like, and he does his research too, so I'm not going to take full credit for that. But I did tell him about certain things. He's like, oh, okay. So it's like, it's cool to be a part of it now. And it's like, yeah, he's a cultural icon. Like, you look at him like a god.
yeah.
It's just cool to be there for all of that. It's like, yo, I'm here. I'm around it now. It's dope.
You're a part of the brand forever now.
Yeah.
You're like
And it's great to be, with the clothing line and stuff like that. This is stuff I always collected it, you know what I'm saying? So it's like now I'm here introducing it to a new generation. And, a lot of people is like, where's Spike at a store?
Yes.
And like, I'm the
I
vessel.
didn't know that.
Yes.
My dad told me that.
Yeah, so it's like I'm the vessel to that. Like it's like through so they might not get to talk to Spike about it, but or they didn't know about it. But I'm the one that's kind of reintroducing a lot of my peers, and I go to different functions and they see my shirts and I just tell them about the site and then we get customers. And what I tend to do, the role I play in this is with these events that we do, I get people to do volunteer work, and it's like if you do volunteer work, a lot of the people from 40 Acres watch you. Spike watches you. Like he's, yeah, he's signing autographs and stuff, but he's looking at everybody. And there's times we do follow-up meetings. He's like, oh, whatever happened to that girl that had this? And like he'll remember you. Sometimes he'll remember you, especially if he wants to drive a point. And it's like, just try to just be active. Like that's why I try to promote when I'm looking for volunteers on Instagram and stuff like that. Because when I was coming up, I didn't have that. I kind of just things just kind of fell into place with me and Spike. But who knows, it could be somebody just like me out there somewhere that's looking for that opportunity. And I want to be that person to say, hey, look, this is how I got in. Here, you want to volunteer? Do that. So it's just...
So it's be open to the intern life,
Mhm.
volunteer life.
Yes.
Don't go into it thinking, okay, I'm going to make this much off because I want to,
Yeah,
it's not
no,
about
no,
the
no.
money.
You got to humble yourself and sacrifice. Just you're going to have some unpaid gigs. You know what I'm saying? When I did Sweet Blood of Jesus, it was unpaid. And I found out a couple of people that was in my group got paid. And I never beefed about it because I was there. I was like, yo, listen, I'm there. I don't give a damn. I will be and another thing too, which goes back to what we were talking about being assertive. The last day of shoot, we shot in Red Hook. We shot at the church that they based Red Hook Summer off of, which ended up being the opening and ending of Sweet Blood of Jesus. When we were done shooting, a lot of the Kickstarter people, and even when we were shooting, a lot of them were already filmmakers. They were like, like doing their thesis and stuff like that. And they were offended by the fact that they had to, it's like, oh, they want me to sit here and check people in. I have a film in a film festival right now.
Boy.
Yeah, I was meeting a lot of characters like that, and I was telling them like, this is, it's like, well, when this is over, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And I remember our last day of shoot, everybody was like, all right, we're done, I'm out. All right, cool, peace, we out. And I remember I loaded, it was open, they didn't tell us to stay.
Yeah.
I loaded the van. I brought the van back here to 40. Me and somebody brought the van back here to 40, and I unloaded. And whatever they were taking to Martha's Vineyard, I stayed and I loaded it. And I was the only person from the PA group that did that. So one of the OGs that were there, they was just like, oh, yo, thank you. Yo, I gotta tell Spike that you helped me. Damn, thank you. It's like, and I didn't do it for that. I didn't do it to say, oh, make sure you tell him.
Yeah, no, you did because it seemed like the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I knew people were watching. I was like, nah, like, if this is what I want, I gotta get my hands dirty.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, so you just gotta be assertive. Whenever you come to these events, if you see me or anybody else wearing a 40 Acre badge, ask us about an opportunity, an internship. I'm open to that. Now, when you force it, and it's like, oh well, I need a job, and it's like, I don't know about that. But if you wanna volunteer and possibly get an intern, yeah, just keep up with me. And I try to get people in the fold. If they're serious. I can't do it for everybody, but yeah, that's what it came down to. Just being dedicated, and that's it.
In testing, what is your greatest personal/professional achievement?
With 40 Acres.
And overall in your life?
Oh well, when I was writing for Hot 97 and all that stuff, that was the best time for me because I was in pocket and I was networking with so many people, and it was like, that's when I realized that I was a go-getter. Like, I knew I was a go-getter to a fault, but it was like, when I realized that I was really moving and shaking and getting in these circles and really, really networking with people. That was like, and Spike came from that. So that, of course, that's my biggest achievement from all that. But personally, that taught me about myself, and I was just like, damn, like whenever I have kids, I gotta instill this in them. You know what I'm saying? I gotta teach them that, yo, whatever you want, you can get it. As corny as it sounds, whatever you want, you can get it. So the spike thing, of course, being that again, that being the best thing to come from it. But my personal greatest achievement was just pushing myself amidst all the BS that was going on at the time. You know, I was broke, and I was living in a room with my mother, in a room, her and I in a room, in a small room at that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like just pushing myself to get out of there and just keep doing what I do. It was like that was the best thing for me, honestly. That was that's the best thing I could ever do, because I taught myself about myself and life in general. I could sit around and complain about being broke all day and think, oh, I can't do this because I'm broke. Da, da. Social media is free.
Yeah.
You can get on there if you have a talent, whether it's writing.
And then go fund me, like you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Give you money for
Yeah,
anything that you
yeah.
wanna do.
As long as you show people that, yo, this is what I do and I'm serious about it. You have a reel or whatever. Put whatever your cause is up on GoFundMe and just have people invest in your art. You know what I'm saying? Or put in extra time, overtime at work. Do something. You'll save money. It's just whatever you want, you can get. And I think that moment when that was like my prime, when I was just in and out of Hot 97 and I was just in these circles and stuff like that. And I was hungry. Like that was my best time, thank God. And that's why I'll always shout out to Bobby Trends. I'll always be thankful and grateful of him, because like he took a chance on me. He just needed somebody to just summarize paragraphs of what's going on in the world. But when he realized I can develop content, he was like, what? And let me go ham and let me do whatever I wanted to do on that site. Whatever. That was basically my site with his name on it at one point. So
Wow.
yeah, shout out to him for that, because again, without that, I wouldn't be with Spike.
So, if you could give, I guess not just anyone that's coming up, but anyone, advice that was given to you to pass on to them.
I didn't get a whole lot of advice, honestly. I'm the oldest in my family. I didn't have any big brothers. A lot of the older people in my family, they just do their own thing. The baton wasn't really passed on to me as so. But my mom just always told me to be humble and don't look for pats on the back. Like just do it with your heart. Whatever. If you got to do something and you got to talk yourself into doing it, that's not genuine. It gotta come from your heart. And it's like going back to me being on the set. I didn't wait for people to tell me to load the van. I waited for them to let me know when we were wrapped. Like, oh, we're wrapped. All right. I see some equipment laying around. Yo, let me pick this up. Yo, you need any help or anything? I did think.
Seeing you at the event, I mean, you're in charge, but you're still.
See, and
Yeah.
I'm glad you can say that, because a lot of people that supervise people at these
They
events,
just watch them. Like,
they
okay,
chill.
Put the stuff away.
Yo, I was going to VIP, and so I seen other people just like, yo,
Relaxing,
chopping it up with
Yeah.
OGs over the years. But as you can see, I was working my ass off, running back and forth,
sweating.
and making
It
sure,
rains, like.
making sure everything was going on, and even after that. And it's like, and then people always tell me, yo, John, chill. You're the supervisor, chill.
Yeah, but
There's
that's
no
when you
chilling.
know that's when people know, like, this is the boss. Like,
Yeah.
he's in charge.
Yeah.
And
then plus, and I put a lot on people, because I want y'all to work as hard as I'm working. You know what I'm saying? If y'all see me chilling, y'all just gonna be like, look at this guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you gotta lead by example. And my mom always told me to just go hard and don't look for the pat on the back, and just never stop. Don't ever get lax. Like that's something my mom always told me. And then my grandmother was a supervisor of a movie. She ran a movie theater in the city.
Oh, wow.
So I
Is
would.
that why you love movies? Like, is that maybe?
Yes, it is. Definitely is, because that's going to tell another story. Because I basically grew up. It was a Ziegfeld Theater in the city, which is unfortunately it doesn't exist anymore. It was like one of the few single movie house theaters in the city. Like now everything is multiplex. So it's like I used to go there and watch movies. I remember I used to go with her to work. I saw an Interview with the Vampire
That's one of my favorite.
at her
movies.
job. Yeah, I saw that at her job. I saw Braveheart, Casino. This is like when I was like 8 years old. I'm just like, Grandma, can I just sit in the theater? And she's like, yeah. And I used to just sit there and watch movies
That for sure
all
rubbed
day.
off on you.
And so it's just like, and then just seeing how she took charge over her staff. That's just how it always started. Like work ethic was something big in my family, and I think, you know, if there was one thing, if I can take something to tell others, is like, just work, 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 work,
Work
work.
until you can't work no more.
Yeah, seriously, work until when you clock out. That's when you chilling.
Yeah.
You know, I tell people all the time, like, oh, you don't, I don't get much sleep. I'll get sleep when I'm dead. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got a whole life to live ahead of me. I don't got time. If I'm really tired, I'll take a nap or something. I don't got time to be laying around. Like,
absolutely.
let my day go by. Just keep it pushing.
That was inspiring.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you so much.
No, I
that was awesome.
I tend to ramble, but
No,
it's
no,
just
you
like,
got, listen, we got to everything.
like people don't understand. Like, again, I was the oldest, so I didn't have an OG to put me on. I learned the hard way. I've tumbled many times in my life, and if I can reach out to somebody and tell them to avoid, I mean, you got to get dirty in life. Every
you
now
gotta
and
make your
then
own mistakes.
you got to make your own mistakes, but if I can give them some keys to put them on the right path to make sure that they don't veer too far off the tracks, I look for any opportunity to help anybody.
Well, thank you for sitting
No
here
problem.
and talking to me, because this was a huge opportunity.
No problem. I'm glad I had the opportunity. So, no problem.